After the success of The Witcher 3, many have been anxiously awaiting developer CD Projekt Red's next game, Cyberpunk 2077. It turns out that we actually know a fair amount about the game already between its trailers and the fact that it's based on an already existing pen and paper RPG, Cyberpunk 2020. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the important information we have on Cyberpunk 2077, starting with some basic info, then eventually getting into some more in-depth information. To begin with, Cyberpunk 2077 is an upcoming sci-fi open-world role-playing game that will be available on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. It can be played in either third or first-person perspective, which is something that wasn't available in the Witcher games. We know the third-person gameplay is going to be excellent, but crafting a good first-person experience is going to be something new for CD Projekt Red. One interesting thing about the game is it will have a multiplayer element in addition to the single-player story. I'm cautiously optimistic and eager to see what they do, but I do have a couple of small fears about this. First, I'm concerned that CD Projekt Red will spend too much time on the multiplayer and not focus enough on the single player, which is what they're good at. Second, they have little to no experience developing a multiplayer game, so whether or not they can create a good multiplayer experience remains to be seen. At the same time, we know very little about what this multiplayer element is, and it's possible that it's something peripheral. CD Projekt Red also did such good work with the Witcher series in general that even when it comes to adding something new like multiplayer, I trust they'll do a good job. It has been directly stated that Cyberpunk 2077 is far bigger than even The Witcher 3. An employee from CD Projekt Red said, and I quote, "Cyberpunk is far bigger than anything else CD Projekt Red has done before. Far, far bigger." That is a very bold statement considering how massive The Witcher 3 was, and while I'm sure this is to some extent them trying to hype up their game, I do believe the game is going to be bigger than The Witcher 3. One might think that bigger is not necessarily better, and this is 100% true. However, CD Projekt Red is usually pretty good with paying attention to the details and with crafting their world. Also, co-founder of the company, MachinimaSound, stated that the game is more ambitious on every single front, in the development and on the marketing side. His use of the words every single front means they are paying attention to everything, and not just blindly trying to make the world bigger without paying attention to the details. Another thing to consider is there are quite a few more developers working on Cyberpunk 2077 than The Witcher 3. Company size was around 200 to 300 at the time of The Witcher 3 and is now at 370 and still growing. Obviously not all of these employees are working on the game, but it shows that CD Projekt Red has significantly expanded, which is what will allow them to make this game bigger and hopefully better than The Witcher 3. One of the coolest features Cyberpunk 2077 will likely have is the ability to drive and fly vehicles, if job listings for CD Projekt Red are anything to judge by. Finally, the soundtrack will be crafted by the same composer who created The Witcher 3 soundtrack. The setting of Cyberpunk 2077 is described as a dark future in 2077, where advanced technologies have become both the salvation and the curse of humanity. The name of the area where the game takes place is Night City, located south of San Francisco with a population of 5 million. It was founded in 1994 and has a corporate-controlled city council. Specifically, the council is made up of representatives chosen by the 10 largest mega corporations with offices in the city. This could become a major plot point during the game. One or more of these mega corporations could unveil some sort of plot that would allow them to become more powerful but harm the city overall, and the player may have to fight against these corporations. Or alternatively, there have been 4 corporate wars in the past in the Cyberpunk universe, and perhaps the game could center around another corporate war. Moreover, it's been stated that the events of the 4th corporate war, which took place in 2024, are of particular note. During the 4th Corporate War, a low-yield tactical nuke detonated and took out much of downtown Night City. This area, which is now presumably rebuilt, will likely be important in Cyberpunk 2077. Night City receives 21 inches of rain per year, and this rain appears to be acidic, meaning you have to wear certain types of clothing to protect yourself from the rain. The city also has an advanced rapid transit system, as well as other high-tech features. There's much more to say about Night City, but that will be covered in a future video. For now, what you should know is that Night City is a dark futuristic city with a lot to see and do. In the cyberpunk world, humans can use implants and substances to alter their body and give them extra abilities. For example, in Night City, many non-English languages are spoken, but you can buy translator implants to comprehend these languages. Braindance is a digital recording device streamed directly into the brain that allows the player character to experience emotions, brain processes, and muscle movements of another person as if they were their own. The plot of Cyberpunk 2077 appears to revolve around individuals who overuse these implants or substances. Specifically, installing too much cyberware can result in cyberpsychosis, which causes madness and loss of empathy. At its most extreme, a person's body starts to rebel against their biological body parts as well as all things organic around them. As a result, they start killing people who they now refer to as meatbags. At this point, the individual is labeled a psycho. In Cyberpunk 2020, characters had an empathy stat that could be decreased or increased based on certain actions. If empathy dropped too low, it would cause players to fall into the grip of cyberpsychosis. It's possible that a similar mechanic will appear in Cyberpunk 2077. There's only one way for a cybernetically enhanced human to quote, hang over the edge and keep from committing murder or other heinous acts, and that is therapy. Therapy can combat the effects of cyberpsychosis and restore one's empathy. In the teaser trailer, which I will link in the description, the Psycho Squad is shown. The task of this squad is to combat psychos who go on a rampage, which is exactly what happens in the trailer, and the Psycho Squad arrives to subdue the psycho. The Psycho Squad will almost certainly have an important role in the game, and it's likely that the player will either fight against the Psycho Squad, join the Psycho Squad, or even be given a choice between the two. Interestingly, the description of the trailer states the events of the trailer show how the Psycho Squad might acquire a new member. This indicates the Psycho Squad may in fact be made up of psychos themselves. More specifically, the Psycho Squad might actually be psychos who undergo therapy to keep them from going berserk. Which would make sense since the best people to combat cybernetically enhanced humans are other cybernetically enhanced humans. Once again, this is a complicated topic, so more on it in a future video. In addition to the trailer, there's an interview with Mike Pondsworth, who created Cyberpunk 2020 and is essentially the author of this world. He describes the world as a combination of dystopian future society with an overlayer of film noir. Night City has extremely advanced technology, but it hasn't fundamentally changed the fact that there's a lot of treachery and serious danger all about. Cyberpunk 2077 is ultimately how people use this futuristic technology. Pondsworth has also stated, Cyberpunk is not about saving humanity, it's about saving yourself. One relatively major prediction I have for the game is that you will be able to create your own character, perhaps in a way that's similar to Fallout or the Elder Scrolls. This feature makes sense because in Cyberpunk 2020, you can of course create your own character. With regards to its release date, CD Projekt Red has confirmed it will come out between 2017 and 2021. If I had to say, I think the game is going to come out in 2019, because the Witcher games had a 4-year break between each of them, and The Witcher 3 came out in 2015. But also, they've already been working on the game for some time concurrently with The Witcher 3, and they are larger now, so perhaps it will come out a bit earlier. Alright everyone, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you found this to be informative, and if so, be sure to drop me a like down below. Also, let me know what you want to hear next with regards to Cyberpunk 2077, as I definitely plan to do more content on this game. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.